What if the moon approached Earth at half its distance, triggering a planetary hydrodynamic collapse? Let's look at the consequences we reconstructed using simulation and see how it could actually happen. Attention! This video is an AI-generated documentary reconstruction created strictly for educational purposes. It contains no real footage. What if the moon approached Earth at half its distance, shrinking its orbit from 384,000 to 192,000 kilometers? According to Newton's law of universal gravitation, cutting the distance in half will cause a devastating effect. The moon's gravitational pull on Earth's hydrosphere will instantly increase by exactly 8 times. Lost iron of war. News reports, the planetary infrastructure of coastal zones is not designed for such loads. Tidal forces trigger a global chain reaction of water mass displacement. The planet's familiar rhythm is broken. Instead of a gradual change in water levels, the ocean is preparing for its first extreme displacement cycle. The extreme low tide phase begins. In the world's largest ports, such as Rotterdam and Shanghai, the water retreats back for kilometers at speeds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour, exposing the seabed. Deprived of the ocean's hydrostatic support, giant container ships and supertankers weighing hundreds of thousands of tons instantly run aground, capsize, and snap under their own weight. The planet's underwater infrastructure is exposed to the surface. Pressure on transatlantic communication cables drops sharply, causing internal mechanical deformations and ruptures in internet traffic lines. Port terminals designed for constant water pressure experience massive engineering shock. Concrete sheet piles and dock foundations begin to crack and settle. But this silence is deceptive. The gravitational pendulum has swung. The water accumulated in the central parts of the ocean basins is preparing to surge back toward the land. Exactly 6 hours later, the low tide phase ends. A destructive kinetic energy is added to the colossal volume of water. The ocean returns. The high tide phase arrives. In narrow bays and river estuaries, the tidal wave reaches a critical 30 to 50 meters, turning into a solid wall of water. Water strikes the foundations of megacities with hydrodynamic pressure exceeding any engineering standards. The process of cavitation and undermining of New York's skyscraper load-bearing structures begins. The planet's entire port infrastructure is destroyed in the first minutes of impact. Steel cranes weighing thousands of tons are crumpled by the current like foil. Coastal cities turn into empty concrete canyons. In less than an hour, the water level rises to the 7th floor, flooding power hubs, transformers, and underground subway lines. The underground transportation network absorbs billions of tons of ocean water. An instant hydrodynamic shock occurs, destroying ventilation shafts and floodgates. Flood defense systems, including the famous Thames barrier, are completely submerged. Defensive structures are not designed to contain water volumes amplified by the gravity of the lunar approach. The peak of the high tide is reached. A massive moon hangs over the flooded centers of world trade. But the gravitational cycle is continuous, and in a few hours, the colossal mass of water will surge back. Cyclic loads destroy bridge structures. The Brooklyn and Tower bridges experience colossal alternating pressure. Every 6 hours, the current reverses direction, snapping steel cables. The speed of the retreating water creates a vacuum suction effect. Sheet piles and coastal fortifications are literally ripped out of the ground by the reverse pressure of the water masses. The planet's logistics are completely paralyzed. Ships carried deep into city blocks by the high tide are left hanging on the debris of buildings during low tide, splitting apart. Lost Iron of War News notes, hydrotechnical locks and sluice systems of inland canals are completely destroyed by continuous water hammers. Control over water resource distribution is lost. After 3 days of continuous gravitational cycles, Earth's coastal infrastructure is transformed into an eroded wasteland and silty desert. Cities built over centuries are wiped off the face of the Earth. The destruction of transportation routes rules out any possibility of recovery. The steel and iron of transit hubs are bent by the kinetic force of water and buried under tons of bottom sediment. Only a few structures with massive foundation stability and steel framing manage to survive, but even they are now cut off from the rest of the world by the new, altered tide line. The alteration of the satellite's orbit has pushed the planet into a new hydrodynamic state. The existence of major megacities on ocean coasts has become physically impossible. The realistic disaster VFX project concludes this reconstruction.